Swatting is more than just an alarming headline. It's a dangerous and life-threatening act of harassment that has become disturbingly common in today's digital world. This video dives deep into what swatting is, how it happens, and why it's a pressing issue we can't ignore. If you've ever wondered how something like this could happen, or how you can protect yourself, you're in the right place. Let's break it down step by step. What is swatting? Swatting refers to the malicious act of tricking law enforcement into sending a heavily armed response team, often a SWAT unit, to an unsuspecting victim's home or workplace. This tactic is not just a harmless prank, it's designed to terrify, intimidate, and sometimes even physically harm the victim. Imagine armed officers bursting into your home expecting to face a violent criminal. For the victim, this scenario is terrifying and often life-threatening. For the attacker, however, it's all about creating chaos and fear. Swatting not only endangers the victims but also puts responding officers and the surrounding community at risk. The mechanics of swatting. So, how does swatting actually work? It all begins with a phone call to local law enforcement. The swatter crafts a fabricated urgent scenario, a hostage crisis, an armed shooter, or even a murder in progress, designed to provoke an immediate and aggressive response. Attackers often include horrifying details to escalate the situation further. For example, they might claim that a hostage has been killed or is about to be. The goal is to create a high-pressure situation where officers feel compelled to act without hesitation. This increases the likelihood of a dangerous confrontation at the victim's location. The role of doxing swatting is rarely random. Attackers typically target specific individuals, and this is where doxing comes into play. Doxing involves uncovering and publicly sharing someone's personal information, such as their home address, phone number, or workplace, without their consent. Swatters often begin by doxing their victim, gathering the information they need to carry out their attack. Sometimes this information is shared on public forums or sold to others, creating a cycle of harassment. By combining doxing with swatting, attackers make their threats both personal and dangerously effective. Caller ID spoofing. The key to deception to avoid being traced and to make their false reports more believable, swatters often use caller ID spoofing. This simple yet effective technique manipulates caller ID systems to make it appear as though the call is coming from the victim's location, or even from the victim themselves. This added layer of deception heightens the realism of the fake emergency, making it more likely that law enforcement will respond with maximum force. Unfortunately, this tactic also makes it harder for authorities to identify and apprehend the perpetrators behind these calls. A real-life example, Melina Abdullah. The video highlights a chilling real-life example involving Melina Abdullah, a prominent leader in the Black Lives Matter movement. In this case, an anonymous attacker called 911 and claimed to have taken hostages at Abdullah's home. This swatting incident, streamed live on Instagram, saw armed officers surrounding her house. Thankfully, the situation ended without violence, but the psychological impact of such an event is immeasurable. The attacker later revealed that their motive was to intimidate Abdullah and send a message opposing the Black Lives Matter movement. The growing threat of swatting. Swatting isn't just a local issue. It's a nationwide problem that's been on law enforcement's radar for over a decade. Despite this, swatting incidents remain difficult to track because they aren't classified as a specific crime in the FBI's nationwide crime statistics database. The growing accessibility of technology, combined with the ability to remain anonymous online, has made it easier than ever for attackers to carry out swatting attempts. This puts everyday people, especially those with a public presence or active online communities, at risk. Why swatting is hard to stop. One of the biggest challenges in combating swatting is the nature of SWAT teams themselves. These highly trained units are designed to respond to high-stakes, life-threatening situations. When they're sent to a location under false pretenses, the potential for danger escalates dramatically. Even with increased awareness, the system itself is vulnerable to exploitation. As long as these units exist to respond to urgent calls, swatters will continue to find ways to manipulate them. Protecting yourself from swatting. While swatting is difficult to eliminate entirely, There are steps you can take to reduce your risk. The first and most important is to protect your personal information online. Ensuring that your home address, phone number, and other sensitive details are not easily discoverable through a simple Google search is critical. This advice is particularly important for online gamers, streamers, and other public figures who are frequent targets of swatting. By maintaining strong privacy settings and being cautious about sharing personal information, you can make it harder for attackers to target you. A call to action swatting is more than just a prank. It's a serious crime that puts lives at risk. Whether you're an individual looking to protect yourself or a concerned citizen raising awareness, we all have a role to play in addressing this issue. By understanding how swatting works and taking steps to safeguard personal information, we can make it more difficult for attackers to succeed. Let this serve as a reminder of the importance of online privacy and the need for greater accountability in the digital age. Together, we can work to create safer spaces for everyone, both online and offline.